And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to another live. Happy Wednesday. Yesterday was a massive day for the Palantir community. I spoke about it in my video that came out yesterday, but in case you have no idea, which I'm sure is not the case, yesterday we finally heard after a long time that Palantir have been awarded that NHS contract to be the supplier of the FDP for the National Healthcare Service here in the UK. Little old Palantir have been given the responsibility of the FDP, being the FDP supplier for the healthcare service in the UK. Like, that's really big because Palantir are still very new as in terms of a public company. And of course, they're not a massive mega cap company. They're not. They're still in their very early days, relatively small company, very impressive. And obviously, we have been waiting for what feels like a lifetime. This contract announcement has been delayed. Originally, we were meant to hear back in September. We heard yesterday, November the 21st. But even so, it was good news. It all worked out in the end. And honestly, I think we were all getting a little bit concerned because there was a lot of media stress, a lot of negative news, a lot of misinformation, which of course we've spoken about on this channel. But all of that got pushed aside, and the people in charge decided to award this contract to Palantir. However, there were a number of things that came out in that official announcement that the NHS put out and all the news that came out surrounding that as well that were a little bit confusing. Some pieces of information that us as a Palantir community didn't really expect to see going into it. And I think that a lot of people got a bit concerned about some of these pieces of information, which we'll look at in just a minute. And of course, yesterday we saw, let me share my screen, we saw that Palantir stock didn't have the best day that it's ever had. Here we go. Yesterday down by 7.22% on the day, which is not a great day by any means. But please, let's remember that year to date, Palantir is still up by 210%. That is incredible. And recently, we obviously hit 52-week highs as well. So when you just look at one day, doesn't look great, but just zoom out, it's still going very well indeed. But what was causing that sell-off yesterday? Well, I think it was a classic case of buy the rumor, sell the news. And we spoke about this on the live yesterday, I think it was, where we sort of said we anticipate that there could be some sell-off, even if the contract is awarded to Palantir, because that's what happens. People buy the rumor, they sell the news. People take profit off the table, and that's okay. That's kind of what we expect. Also, I think a lot of people are getting a bit panicked and maybe selling a little bit because of the details that we learned about this contract that we weren't expecting, and we'll move on to that in just a second. But it does seem like, this is just a typical case of people taking profit and selling the news as expected. So I don't think we need to be too concerned here. I think we need to focus on what this means for Palantir as a business, what it means for them with this stamp of recognition. They have been given the responsibility of transforming the entire UK healthcare system in terms of data. That's really big. And what implications does that have in the future? Well, it means that they could expand into other private and public sector healthcare within Europe, within the UK, within, outside of Europe. It's an expansion of the value and the good work that we are already seeing them do within this sector. Very exciting. It was a great day. I was driving when this news came out, and all I could see in the corner of my eye, because I had my directions on my phone, I kept seeing notifications go off, and different platforms like Seeking Alpha and all these other platforms notifying me. And obviously on my Patreon as well, which I can see Sir Lallington we've got in the house from the Patreon. So hello. Notifying me that they've been awarded the contract. And I was trying to focus on my driving, and I was just having like 400 heart attacks as I went along the road because I was so excited and I wanted to see all the details. Anyway, that's beside the point. Let's talk about what we learned in this contract. So I'm sure you've all read this. We're not going to read it all or anything like that. But this is the official documentation that came out from the NHS themselves. a couple of things here that we learnt that maybe we didn't expect. Firstly, we expected to go into this contract with Palantir being awarded the contract with the help of Accenture. Accenture. I don't really know how to say it. I keep saying both because I'm not sure. My British accent wants to say Accenture. So I'm going to go with that, Accenture, whatever. We knew that it was a joint bid. Palantir would be doing the majority of the work. They would be supported by this other company, Accenture. That was it. However, that didn't quite happen. We can see here that actually, let me zoom. It says, following an open and competitive tender process, the contract to provide the software has been awarded to a group led by Palantir. Okay, expected, obviously, with support from Accenture. Expected. We knew that they were in a joint bid. No surprise there. But then they just add on these other three companies, PwC, NECS, and Carnell Farrer. We were not expecting to see so many other companies involved in this deal. We didn't know that ahead of time. We still don't really know the exact split that's going to happen here, but it was a little bit surprising. Now, I think that threw a lot of people off. Why are Palantir sharing this deal, this responsibility with so many companies? So I had a little look into these companies just to see exactly what they do and, you know, what this actually, how Palantir might be supported. So all of these companies, Accenture, PwC, NECS, and Carnell Farrer, they are all consultancy, professional service, supportive technology type of companies. So there is no way that any of them are doing the majority of this work. It is definitely Palantir doing the majority with help from 4 others. There's a few questions being raised here. Why are Palantir needing 4 other companies, which I've got a theory, so I'll tell you that in just a second. And also, how does the money get split up? And there was details about the money that people weren't happy with as well that we'll talk about. So just quickly to give you an idea of what these other companies do. Accenture is a professional services company specializing in information technology services and consulting. They basically assist their clients in achieving milestones quicker and more effectively by designing revolutionary systems, business concepts, and strategies. Fine. PwC, very, very similar. Consulting, auditing, tax planning. That's kind of what they do. So I imagine the consulting side is coming in here. NESC, they offer a end-to-end commissioning supportive services. So they do everything from human resourcing to data management, which is obviously way more suitable for this context. And they have they are the go-to organization for the NHS when the NHS looks to find answers to some of their biggest challenges. That gives a little bit more context as to why maybe they're involved. Carnell Farrer, they are a supportive health system to help improve from a strategic performance and organizational perspective. So you can see here there's a lot of overlap there. 2 things. Why do Palantir need so much help? I don't think that they do, which makes me then think this is a move to install trust in the public. All of them companies that we've just spoken about there, they have all either had some involvement in the NHS already. So the public will recognize those names and trust them to be working with the NHS, and or they work within a lot of UK businesses already. So I think by saying, hey, look, Palantir is this US company that you've probably never heard about. They are going to be responsible for supplying the FDP. But don't worry, because actually these 4 other companies are all involved too. And you guys know them. You know PwC, you've heard of them. And NECS has been working with the NHS for years and years. We trust them. So it might just be a way to install trust, because I don't understand why you would need 4 different companies all seemingly providing the same service to Palantir and supporting Palantir. But hey, we need more clarification. I don't know. We don't know yet. We need to wait and see whether it's clarified as to what these other companies are doing and how they are supporting Palantir. But then, let's go back to this bit here. So the contract award will see investment over the course of 7 years as more platforms, as more trusts join the platform. In the first contract year, investment is expected to be at least £25.6 million. Over the contractual period of 7 years, there will be up to £330 million investment into the FDP and associated services. Associated services, I think what they're getting at there is, where do they say it in here? Where do they say it? They're basically doing, here, about the privacy enhancing technologies, and they're doing other projects alongside this and integrating it into this contract as well. So I think that's what that bit's speaking about. But 333 million over 7 years. A few questions have been raised about that, because originally we were expecting, let me try and get this right, £360 million for a 5-year. 360 million for a 5-year deal, and then that deal could be extended and expanded as necessary to £480 million if that option is taken to do the extension. So the idea that it's now 330 million and 7 years has confused a lot of people. I don't know yet how this 330 million is being split up. Is it that Palantir is taking this whole amount, so the whole 330 themselves, and then the rest of the money that is available is being split in their own contracts with the other supportive companies, these companies up here? Or is it that this amount here is actually going to be split between all 5 companies, meaning Palantir will get the majority, but they will still get a smaller slice of the pie overall because it's being split? Again, we just don't have this confirmation yet. We don't know. So we can make our guesses and we can hope that they're getting as much of it as possible. But ultimately, until that's confirmed, we don't really know. And remember as well, the 480 million was the very top range that was suggested. But of course, that figure was grasped tightly by mass media and thrown out there a lot, because it sounds a lot worse if you say US spy company going to be paid 480 million than it does to say US spy company going to be paid 330 million. So I think it was quite smart there, really. But I was a little bit confused by this, because that information came out in the actual NHS announcement. But then over on X, Wendy, who is the SVP of Palantir, put out a post. And in that post, she referenced $600 million contract. $600 million transferred to pounds is about 470, 480. So she's referencing the 480 that Palantir are getting. So it's just a little bit confusing, but it is what it is. We'll wait to see further detail. And I think the most important thing here to say is that the meaning of this contract is way more important than the money. The potential benefits that Palantir will see as a company in their later years because of this contract that they're getting now, and how much anticipation and concern about them getting this contract there's been, that's, it's way more important than the money. Obviously, we would like more money in terms of being Palantir investors and Palantir as a company, but this is still really, really positive. So let's not get too stressed about this, and we'll just wait to see whether further information comes out to actually clarify exactly what this all means. In terms of other information that we got, we had the timeline information, we had the information about other projects that they're tying into this, but nothing else was really that concerning. But of course, this still happened. So maybe it was a mixture of people not being very happy about the extra details we learned yesterday. Maybe it's people just selling the news, taking profit. Maybe it's also the fact that Alex Karp on the 20th of November, sold 585,000 shares. And interestingly, he sold these shares at a price of $21.50 each, which means that he quite literally got pretty much that bit there. He timed it perfectly. If it was timed, he did time it perfectly. And that meant that he made $12,577,500. I think I actually just hit that on the head. I think I remembered that perfectly. Hang on, I've got it written down. I'm going to check that because that's impressive if I did do that. $12,577,500. I don't know if that's what I just said, but that's the amount that he got from that sale. And it wasn't just him. He wasn't the only one selling it. Other board members, other high up people in high up positions at Palantir have also been selling a vast amount of shares. Peter Thiel, Stephen Cohen, Alex Karp, and a few others as well have been selling shares recently. So then we have to say, okay, why are they selling? Because when you see important people within a company selling lots of shares, I think the natural conclusion to jump to is that they must not have confidence in this company. They must be concerned about this company, the company's future. They must know something that we don't know, or they think the stock is overvalued. I don't think that's the case. I think it's as simple as they are either selling because they want to take some profit and just manage their own personal finances. It could be as simple as that. It could be a pre-scheduled sale and it's just so happened that it's worked out perfectly in terms of the stock price. It could be for tax reasons and tax implications. Implications. That sounds so wrong. Tax reasons. It could be that they were given shares of Palantir back in the day and they had to hold them shares for a certain amount of time, and now they've become eligible to actually transfer into cash. There are many, many reasons that aren't concerning as to why they'd be selling. But of course, when we do see lots of stock being sold, it does have an impact in the stock price because the stock price is supply versus demand. Am I worried about this? No, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned that they're selling it for a particular reason. I think it's as benign and as innocent as tax, taking profit, pre-scheduled sale, all those reasons I've just said. I don't actually know the legit reason for this, for what they said it was, but I don't think it's too concerning. But again, that might be causing this drop in stock price. It could definitely be having an impact for sure. So but basically what I'm saying is this stock price dip is not concerning me. But let me just see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Sir Lalington, you've made a good point. I forgot to point that out. Pre-market, we have got Palantir sitting at $20.12 per share, which means, again, it's broken that $20 resistance level. It doesn't want to hang around under $20, that's for sure. And I think yesterday was such an important moment for Palantir, and it's such a bullish catalyst that's been checked off the list that I think people are starting to wake up to Palantir actually being a serious company in this space. And like I said, there's many reasons why over the next few years, I think that we're going to see Palantir get bigger and bigger and bigger. One of them being their total addressable market and how valuable they can be in any sector. That's powerful because that is like limitless integration within organizations, as long as the organization can afford Palantir's software. So very, very exciting. Thank you, John. How is everyone doing though? Did anyone see the stock price dip yesterday, and did you buy more, or are you happy with the amount of shares you've got? I'm guessing everyone here is very happy about the NHS contract finally being announced. I don't know how many of us actually thought that we would see that happen yesterday. We're all waiting. We were told that it could happen yesterday, but we've also been told that many times before. Also, on this point about reassurance being given in terms of data privacy and data security, in the NHS official announcement, let me show you. The NHS have said no company involved in the FDP can access health and care data without the explicit permission of the NHS. All data within the platform is under the control of the NHS and will only be used for direct care and planning. It cannot be used to access data for research purposes, and GP data will not be fed into the national version of this software platform. That bit about only used for direct care and planning, I think, is a hint at the previous attempts that have been made by the NHS to bring all data into a centralized one source of centralized truth. Care.data, and they've run another program as well. Both of those programs failed because they were sharing information with other like researchers and other things like that, which ultimately meant that the public didn't trust that they were doing the right thing with their data, and it failed. So I think that they're making it very clear that this data is only to be used for direct care and planning. And also at the bottom of this, here you go. The FDP contract terms expressively forbids use of data patient for commercial gain. Basically saying Palantir are not going to be selling your data. The FDP supplier is paid for its services but has no right to use patient data except as required by NHS controllers to provide services. We saw that by the NHS. We also saw Wendy over on X state very, very clearly what this actually means and how Palantir are not a data broker. They're, they're not doing anything immoral with data. They don't plan to. They can't, even if they wanted to, and they've been very clear about this. So we've seen it from someone within Palantir. We've seen it from the NHS, and Palantir actually put out a blog as well about the NHS deal, and they have made it very clear also. So I think it couldn't be more clear. But of course, we are already seeing campaigns running. We are already seeing people freaking out, already seeing legal action being threatened. We're just going to have to see what happens. But it's clear that still more needs to be done in terms of education because people are not quite there yet. However, I think there's always going to be a case of some people just are never going to feel okay with this because they're not willing to do the research and actually see what it means. And it kind of is what it is at that point. People are buying more yesterday. I said during my live yesterday that if Palantir get the contract and it's announced, I will buy one share of Palantir to celebrate that. I ended up buying a few more than just one because I just had some cash waiting on the sidelines if there was a dip, and there was a little bit of a dip, so I just put that in. Ultimately, I'm not trying to time the market. I'm just trying to dollar cost average in, and then when I've got more cash, I will put it into the stocks I feel convicted for. But just like has been pointed out here, it is a minor dip. I mean, it's substantial in terms of a one-day dip. 7.22% is substantial. However, I think the point that you're making here is that actually, when you zoom out, they are still going up overall. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to crash Palantir, which I absolutely agree with. Not to fret, stocks go up and down. Yeah, they absolutely do. Zoom out on any stock market chart and you will see that there's volatility. Of course, with a stock like Palantir, a growth stock like Palantir, we are going to get lots of volatility. It is very expected, but that's okay. As long as we know why we're holding it and we are willing to we're willing to put our emotions to one side and have a strong stomach when the stock does dip so that we can make use of that dip, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Oh, okay. Someone else has put this way more succinctly than I just did. 12K, 12,000 shares or $12,000 or pounds worth. I'm not sure. I'm guessing you mean shares, which is incredible. Congratulations for building building that many up. But we've got time. It's still early days. It's really exciting to be in a company this early on, because I think a lot of people had regret maybe about not being in Tesla when they were like pre S&P 500 inclusion. They're very early stages when a lot of people were very bearish, when a lot of people said that Tesla will never become anything, that Tesla are this, and this. Same thing's happening now with Palantir. People are saying they're a spy company, they're not going to grow, there's competition, all of this stuff. And we'll see what happens in the future. But I guess, again, it just comes down to research. But we've got time. No, I don't have any options. I've never really got into options at all. I am planning to have a little look into these, but yeah, I don't know an awful lot. I don't really. Maybe it's something that I'm going to be interested in the future, but right now, no. My strategy has literally just been to accumulate shares. That's it. But it looks like your options are doing very well. I've seen a lot of people actually on X making quite a bit of money on this. Sir Lallington. Okay, so you put a screenshot on Discord from an email from the Good Law Project. They don't seem to be a fan. Yeah, they were saying yesterday, was it Good Law Project? I think we looked at them on X. Yeah, they're not a fan. They're not a fan. I think a lot of Foxglove, Good Law Project, a few other MPs are making it very clear that they want to stand against Palantir being awarded this contract, and they will take that to court if they need to. I have to see what happens. But it's a good sign, right? It's a good sign that the people in charge of this decision were willing to put all of the political and data concerns and everything to one side and actually do what they think is best for the patient and the NHS. Maybe the UK companies were an NHS prerequisite for the contract. Yeah, possibly. I do think we weren't really told in the announcement why there's so many other companies being a part of this, but it could just be that was always going to be the case. It was just never shared. It could be that it's a way of installing trust into the British public. I don't really know. I'm waiting for new information on that, because I do want to know why it takes 4 other companies to provide support. But maybe I'm missing something. Let's check Premarket again, see if it's see what's going on. Here we go. $20.13 in Premarket, up by 1.6. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, it's changed. Up by 1.72%. So it looks like we'll have to wait until the market properly opens in the course of the day. But it looks like we're going to go back over that $20 range. Maybe we'll go up from here. Maybe today will be a really good day. Don't know. Don't really mind. If I had to choose, I'd rather it go down more so I get cheaper shares. But all is good. All is good. Early days for this company. I think this is really important. Do your own research, because there has been so much misinformation. And this is the case. We see this with other perhaps controversial companies. I don't even think controversial is the right word here, but like Tesla, I guess even like some of the big companies, Amazon, Microsoft, we see a lot of misinformation and a lot of fear being installed into people. Don't apologize at all. It does seem to have been very political, unfortunately. I just wanted it to come down to what is best for the NHS and what will improve the NHS for the patient. I saw a lot of comments in some of my videos saying, like, I can't believe a UK individual is supporting the privatization of the NHS. That's not what I was doing. I don't want the NHS to go private. I just want myself, my friends, my family, the rest of the UK population to have an NHS that can better serve them. And the NHS is already amazing, but it could be better. There is so much disjointed data. Patient waiting times are crazy. People not getting discharged from hospitals very fast. Supply chain issues. There are many things that are easily solved by this contract. And actually, that's made me think about something else that I saw earlier. So the care.data program that failed in 2016 that I was speaking about, and the other one that the NHS tried, those contracts were for quite a lot of money. I can't remember the exact figures, but of course they ultimately failed. So I think a lot of media coming out saying that, this is such a crazy amount of money that people are having to pay this US company to do something that might ultimately fail, they might steal your data, is not very accurate, because I think this is going to be a piece of software that can actually provide a solution to the problem, whereas before that hasn't happened. So fingers crossed that Palantir smash this and all of the noise settles, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining. Another Patreon member here in the house. Yeah, I think it's very clear that we've now got to the point where the NHS has so many issues, so much disjointed data, and it's very clear that that can probably easily be solved by a simple piece of software, a solution that can come in and bring all of that data from all over the place into one source of truth, and then actually enable the users of that data to use that data to the best of their abilities and use it way more efficiently and more effectively than has ever happened before. So I agree with you there. I think that hopefully we're now going to start seeing the NHS change, and this is kicking off in spring next year. So I guess we'll keep a close eye on how that plays out over the next 7 years, which is kind of crazy. 7 years, in 7 years' time, what will our lives be like? What will they be like from an individual point of view, and what will they be like as a collective in terms of the NHS? Oh, we've got a member in the house as well. Thank you for joining. Good day to you. Good day to you too. Could you please give your 2 cents on Rubicon Technologies? They use Palantir software, and Palantir have participation in Rubicon Technologies. I would love to give you a very solid answer to this question. However, I just don't know enough to be able to give you a great answer. I invite anyone in this channel that's watching this video, if you've got any information to share about Rubicon Technologies, you know some things about them, do you think that they're a good stock, a good company, please let me know and I'll share it on the screen. But yeah, I wouldn't be, I just don't know. I haven't done enough research to give you to really give you my 2 cents, to be honest. I might look into them actually though, because I'm just having a quick Google now. So Rubicon, reinventing an industry. So they are the leading provider of software-based waste recycling and fleet operation products for businesses and governments worldwide. Okay, so Rubicon focuses on developing software solutions that bring new transparency to the waste and recycling industry. That's interesting. So are they, I might sound really naive here because I just don't know too much, but are they using Palantir to do that? Because they've just said that they are providing software-based solutions to the waste and recycling industry. So I wonder what the tie is there. Let me have a quick. Let's see. So back in May 2022, a partnership was announced between Rubicon and Palantir, which I already knew about. But I wonder if this says any more. As part of the agreement, the two organizations will develop a joint go-to-market strategy for the commercialization, whatever, of new Rubicon subscription data products and supporting workflows. Okay, I wonder if this is like the situation that we've seen with Surgents and Skywise, whereby Palantir worked with another company to produce a platform specific to an industry. Wonder if that's the case here. Oh, yes. Sorry, I've completely forgot about this. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you Americans that are celebrating. 100% agree with this comment. Stock prices follow the media. Yeah, unfortunately, noise really impacts stock prices. But like you said there, all you can do is actually just, as a retail investor, use that to your advantage. When the stock price dips and it doesn't make sense as to why it's dipping, just see an opportunity there and make the best of that. How often do you guys buy stocks? Do you buy like once a month consistently, just dollar cost averaging in? Do you do it weekly, bi-weekly, or are you sort of looking every day and then just deciding on the day whether you want to invest into a position or not? We'll start wrapping this up in a minute, but we'll just see if there's any more interesting comments on the NHS Palantir news or anything like that that come through. I wonder how delayed this is. Oh, okay. I'm getting some comments back about that question I just asked. So it's about 20-second delay, maybe. I buy in chunks at irregular intervals. I'm long, so every time it drops hard, I added more like yesterday. I buy when I get paid monthly, which is normally when the stocks are high. At least you're being consistent, though. I think that consistency in investing, looking at the data, trumps everything else. Trumps timing the market, unless you do it perfectly, which will never happen over a long time period. So you probably got the best strategy there, honestly. Looking every day, I buy the lowest possible. If it dips, and I buy aggressively. That's kind of what I do. So I put a certain amount of money into my portfolio every single month, like without fail, unless something happens whereby I can't. But then I keep some money in cash and I check every day, Palantir, Tesla mainly, to see if there's any dips that I want to take advantage of. I don't recommend that. I don't think that anyone needs to check the stock price every day. I think the long-term mindset and the long-term investor always does better. But I'm kind of so in it that I just want to check. I want to see what's going on a day-to-day basis. Okay, similar thing with John here in terms of if you've got money, you add more. This is an interesting one. This is really like psychological, and I feel this too. When you've got an average price that is quite low, like you, 7.45, fantastic, by the way. That means you were buying when everyone else was panicking. So congrats on doing that. You don't want to add more at these prices because then your average price goes up. Completely understand that. And I feel that too. When I look at my average price, I saw one figure. And as I've been buying at higher prices, it's slightly gone up. And it's annoying, but it is what it is. I care more about having as many shares now as possible than I do about my average price. I'm trying to keep it as low as possible, of course, but I just think that in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, what will the current prices actually look like when we look back? Of course, 7.45 is always going to be better than $21, of course, but are we going to be in a position where actually it's worth $100 per share? When that will happen, I don't know. but then you'll be wishing that you actually purchased at $20. So it's really, really difficult to to know what's best to do there. Again, if anyone's got any suggestions, let us know. But yeah, I keep accumulating. I'm not trying to obviously buy at the top. That doesn't make sense to do so. And I kind of thought that this NHS contract would cause a lot of sell-off and a dip, hence why I purchased more yesterday. But yeah, it's definitely a psychological battle. You'll time the delay. Midwest has been cleaning, ready for Thanksgiving. Lots of people saying that they struggle with, yeah, it is difficult because you want to see that you have as many shares at the lowest price. But I mean, who really has that? Some people have told me that they have so many shares at like $6 average, which is insane. And it's amazing. And obviously they will see such financial benefit, even if they sold now. But try to think about your situation. What is your horizon? I know for me, I'm happy to hold my portfolio, including Palantir, for a very long time without selling out. So realistically, is this company going to be worth way more in the future than it is now? Maybe 10 years time? Yes, I think absolutely it will. Therefore, my financial gain will be very good whether I'm accumulating at $6, $7, $8, which I have been, $9, $10, $11, $12, $20, $25, whatever. Andy's got a solution for all of us. There you go. Yeah, what's going on with this UK fractional shares drama? I actually don't know. Let's have a look. So I can see, I won't go into too much detail because I know there's a lot of American people watching this whereby ISAs are just not, you don't need to know that much about them. It's our tax efficient account. And there was conversation about whether or not we could hold fractional shares within those tax efficient accounts, or actually whether fractional shares would be taxed, which isn't great. And I don't think that's what should happen at all. But does anyone know if we've got an update on that? Thomas making a very good point here about how the money is great for this NHS Palantir deal, but it's way more important as to what this means for Palantir moving forward. Using large companies and government agencies across Europe, it opens people's minds up to that. Absolutely. I think this is going to be an integral part of Palantir's future. Okay. That's a good link. Some people are asking if I think that the Palantir stock price is overvalued right now. How do you justify the valuation at these levels? I saw a couple of comments earlier about this as well. Can't find them now. So I definitely think that there is an argument to be made that Palantir has had such a run up so quickly that it could be deemed as being overvalued. I do understand that. I think that what we need to see now is that Palantir as a company shows the growth to actually deserve those stock prices and to fill that valuation. I do agree with that. Am I going to stop buying because I think it's overvalued or because some people are saying that it's overvalued? No, I don't think so. I'm just going to continue to dollar cost average. I will buy more when it dips. And I do think that naturally we will see pullbacks, like that will happen. But it's difficult, isn't it? Because right now there's just so much momentum. AI is obviously a very, very popular subject right now. So those companies that are delivering on their AI, are seeing those benefits in their stock price. Of course, we have got the NHS contract that's just happened, Nvidia earnings, which may have an impact in the stock price today. There's so much going on. So it's a really difficult argument. I do think that Palantir do need to see that growth to actually justify the crazy run that we've been seeing, for sure. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for coming and speaking to me for 45 minutes about Palantir. Much appreciated. I hope these live streams are enjoyable. I hope you get value from them. And I'm just really excited about the community that we're building over here. So if you do want to continue talking to me and great, keen investors, come and join the Patreon and we can carry on the conversation over on Discord. But I appreciate all of you being here. Have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving to all the US folks out there. And I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. And I've got a video coming out tonight as well if you are interested. Bye, everyone.